Well, guys, this is it. This is the completed trailer. It's finally done. It took me actually about 3 months, 2.5 to 3 months to get everything completed on it. So when I finally did, this was the result. I'll take you through each part of it, show you kind of what we've done, but the basics of this trailer, the whole point of this trailer is to have a controlled mixing environment for anyone who wants mixed audio for broadcast, or if you want to do multi-track recording, those kind of things. So kind of in that same vein of, streaming and those kind of things, that's kind of what this is for. And the best part about this is with technology today, it's all done over one of these. Hang on. One of these. The Cat 5, Cat 6 cable. Everything runs over that. So it's very easy these days just to pull up to a venue, plug in an Ethernet cable, and you've got all your microphone inputs. You can mix them to your heart's content, and then we can distribute the audio however we want in the computer. So it is great to be an audio engineer these days because there are so many more options that you can do. And in our minds, at least in, us somewhat younger dudes, we want to roll out a 250-foot Cat 5 cable or Cat 6 cable and run that in and then hop onto our computer and do all of our routing and things like that. So that's what this is set up to do. If any of you have ever heard of Dante, that is the protocol that we are using here along with AVB. Now the console behind me, this is a PreSonus Studio Live 64. It's their Series 3 consoles. And this one and all PreSonus consoles, they are based around AVB, which is another protocol, another audio over IP protocol. So you have AVB with this, and then you have what's called a bridge that bridges this AVB to the Dante network. And PreSonus recently, probably in the last, 6 months to a year, they came out with that bridge that allows you to do 16 channels per box in and out of the Dante network. Now this is a 64 channel board. I have 2 of those boxes, so I can do 32 channels of Dante into this thing without blinking an eye. It's great. I can do more than that. I can go up to 64 if I want. So coming to this mixer over here, the PreSonus console, this is one that I've always wanted, and I've actually had a lot of PreSonus consoles over the years. I had their original, very first Studio Live console, the Studio Live AI. I had their RM mixers. I actually had 2 of those and a CS18, which was their control surface. All very cool stuff, very innovative ideas. I loved it. But if any of you have followed this channel at all, you may have caught on, maybe you didn't, but I do both live sound and I also do some post-production work. So what this console specifically allows me to do, because it's called a Studio Live console, this is my live mixer. It is the interface to my computer. It is also my control surface. So I can sit down right here and I can have, my 32, 64, 128 channel session up, and I can write automation on this guy, just at a press of a button. Well, you got to set up a couple things in the background, but once that's set up, press of a button and you're in and you're mixing. So that is why I got this specific console. Now, yes, after saying all that, you can kind of tell I love the PreSonus products. I always have, and they actually were kind enough to help me with a little bit of a discount on the gear for this, which is very, very nice of them. And I actually want to say thanks to Rick Knockvey over there for hooking me up and everyone at PreSonus for helping me out with this build. With that being said, let's go over everything and see exactly what we have in this amazing room. Now, if you join me down here on the ground, this is the rack of goodness. This has a lot of the things that make this trailer tick. Now at the top, you've got the M1 Mac Mini. Yeah, that's right, the Mac Mini. And this is the one I did an unboxing, just a quick review of a few months ago. It was a while ago. I think it was back in March. And then you have a Thunderbolt dock here from OWC. And they specialize in a lot of Mac products. So we've got that. Down here on the next one, we've got all these switches. It's an American DJ piece. It's really the only piece that I like from them, but it's multiple power switches, which is nice because you can plug individual things in and power them up and down. Now, this hasn't been completely implemented yet, but it will be soon. I've got my studio light here plugged into it right now, but that's all for now. It will be fully integrated soon because of all the other pieces of gear that I have in the studio. Going down from that, we have a Furman power conditioner, and this is very important because where we do have power coming in and we have a breaker box, this lets me know how much voltage we have and why, you know, maybe if it's getting low, I should probably look for some more power. Below that, we have a drawer that just carries all the peripherals and other crap that we need that has a lock on it, so you can lock it, unlock it, those kind of things. Below that, we're getting into the interesting stuff. We've got, right here is an AVB switch. Now these are specific. You have to have an AVB switch for this to work, because below that we have our Dante to AVB bridges, and those carry in Dante, and then they connect to our AVB switch. They also connect to just a regular gigabit Ethernet switch, a dummy switch, so that we can get onto the Dante network. The shelf below that, you can't really see anything because that's all the video stuff. And I had to make sure we had some video stuff in here because obviously we're going to be getting feeds from a video truck. Right here we have another switch, a smaller switch that provides PoE, power over Ethernet. And that's because we have a Dante Avio device, Audinate, who is the creator of Dante. I have an Avio device that spits out 2 channels, a left and a right, or a 1 and a 2, and that's usually how I will feed audio back to Video World. Below that, I have this crazy thing. Let me plug this in. So this guy right here is a Keystone patch panel. So they've got all these little spots here where you can throw in whatever connection you want. And then it's basically just a pass through, so you can pass through whatever you need. And right now what I need for this trailer is a bunch of HDMI, because I've got HDMI ins and HDMI outs. So that's what's taking up the majority of this. These are all the outputs. These are all the inputs over here. And then in the middle, I've got places where, you know, an engineer that's not me, if they want to bring in their laptop and run a what's called Dante Virtual Sound Card, which is basically just bringing the Dante network into your computer so you can record or multi-track record. I've got Dante primary and Dante secondary ports here in case they want to plug their own computer into that. Well, that's pretty much the rack here. That's everything we need to do here. This all may move somewhere else in the future as I kind of build this whole system out. But as for now, it's going to sit in this rack right next to me. And there's the console right there. Now, speaking of consoles, like I said earlier, this is the one that I chose for my specific needs in this trailer. Now, because I do live sound and post-production stuff, and even, you know, just regular recording, this seemed like the best bet. I kind of knocked 3 things out in a row. It gives me a live mixer, it gives me a 64-channel interface into my computer, and it also gives me a control surface for mixing within any DAW, whether it be Pro Tools, Studio One, Logic, Nuendo, Cubase, whatever you want. You can use this to mix in that DAW. It's amazing. It also gives me a fairly small footprint here, which is nice. Now, what's great for one person, because this console is perfect for me, isn't necessarily what everybody wants, which is perfectly fine. So I made it. Now this thing's bolted in. It's not going anywhere. It's bolted onto the table. But remove 4 screws and this console can come out and you can put any console you want in here. That's kind of one of the beauties of the way this is set up. Currently, there's audio outputs on the back here that are being utilized for like the main outputs. So as long as you have some form of output on your console, you can just plug right into here. With that being said, you could also just use Dante to spit your outputs wherever you want. So while we're here, let's talk about this guy. This is a TC Electronic Clarity M, and it is basically a loudness meter. And what I mean by that is when you're broadcasting or when you're mixing for broadcast, there are certain standards you have to hit. And normally, at least in the area where we're at, most broadcasts, you're trying to hit -24, -23. In most of the stuff that I produce, I do -24. But you can push it just a little bit higher for YouTube to make sure that it gets a good clean signal. But this will tell me how loud I'm mixing and trying to keep those levels steady. So from one speaker to the next, or one performing act to the next, you're consistent in your entire mix. Now, you're probably wondering, what speakers did I use? Well, you can't really see any speakers, can you? Normally in a studio, they're right around this area here. Now, that's great and everything, and I could have gone that route, but you probably can't tell, but this isn't a very wide trailer. It was about, I think, 7 feet wide on the outside. So inside it was about 6'8" or 10, and then putting the walls in, it actually shrunk it down even further. But what I wanted was a big display where I could see all the video, all this back here. So I opted to put in what's called a false wall. Now this whole wall back here is made of acoustically transparent fabric. So my speakers reside behind that wall. And they are the PreSonus Scepter 6s. This isn't a very big space, so you don't need an 8-inch driver. 6s work just fine with, I actually have an 8-inch sub that's barely on to give it just a little bit on the low end, but they sound amazing. They're a coaxial driver and they just sound phenomenal. So they live behind there and they have a very, very wide stereo field, and I just couldn't be happier with them. They sound great. This, I've seen this done in some studios, and I really like the concept because you're not worrying about and you're not seeing those speakers. All you're doing is hearing the audio. You don't really, once they're set, and you don't have to worry about where the speakers are. You're not constantly looking up, and sometimes it's great to see them in the studio, but this is a very clean look, I think. And like I said, I've always just loved this look, and I think it's probably one of the best things we can do. Also, while we're here and we can see this screen here, I really wanted a big screen. This actually gives me probably an additional 10 to 15 inches if I would have gone the other route of getting just like an HD LCD TV or something like that. This gives me quite a bit more space, and with that fabric and with what I've been telling you in our build videos, I've wired this thing up for 5.1 to mix in 5.1. So when I put a center speaker in there, it'll just blow straight through the screen, and it'll sound like the sound is just coming right out of the screen. It'll be amazing when I get there, hopefully soon. With that 5.1 thing being said, this console can't mix in 5.1. Technically, it can do an LCR, and then you can create phantom surround channels if you want. So you can put out a 5.1 stream with this if you wanted to, a 5.1 mix with this. You just got to be creative on how you set it up. A lot of the other mixers out there, there are other mixers out there that just have it built in. The D-Live has it. I believe the S6L does. And all those higher end mixers that are going to cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. This one is, I think, this one 4,000 or 5,000, something like that. It's not super expensive considering. And then the lower models, obviously they go down in price, but this one's actually pretty amazing for how much it costs. Now I want to point out just a couple more pieces of equipment, and really there's not a lot in here. Because of technology these days and audio over IP, all that fun stuff, there's not a ton of equipment in here, which is nice. Saves us money, saves a lot of headache when trying to, troubleshoot problems, because there's only so much that can go wrong with this small amount of equipment. For video switching, for the most part, we're using the albino ATEM, which I have de-albinoed. It is no longer albino. It's still albino on the bottom, but not on the top. So I took that off because I thought it looked a little bit more professional. But this is handling all of the video switching duties only for the screen. That's all. It is not meant to be a video production trailer, although you could probably figure something out if you wanted to. But this is strictly for the screen. So I can put whatever on. Right now I got it in multi-view, as you can kind of see. My light's kind of washing it out, but that's multi-view. Obviously I can pull up my program view, which is blank right now. But then I could bring up, let's see, here's a multi-view out of a Blackmagic multi-view HD, I think it's called. That just takes SDI in and spits out HDMI. Then I've got my computer secondary monitor here, and then a fourth HDMI input here that we can use for cameras, so when we're doing live streams, which hopefully we'll get back to in the next few months. It's been quite a crazy year, you know, but that's what this is for. That's what the ATEM's duties are right now, and it's in there. And I'm using all the cables from my cleanest ATEM setup ever across the top here, minus the microphone inputs. I may put those in at some point, but right now they're just going to stay like that. The other piece of equipment that I'm using is over here, and it is the central station from PreSonus as well. Now, this has been touted as a very good monitor controller over the years. It's actually pretty old considering how fast gear comes out, because it has been around, probably, I don't know, 15, 14, 13 years, something like that, somewhere around there. It's been out for a while. And that's because it's a passive box. So there's no active circuits in there where the audio is passing through. It's all passive. So you actually have a box back here that has meters. Let's see, we got some music playing here. And you can see the meters back here bumping. And then it's got a controller over here that I've also mounted down pretty strong here, where you can control everything from volume to, if you have multiple sets of speakers, you can select those. You can also mute, dim. It's got a talkback function on it, which is amazing, that I still need to work on integrating into the comm system, which I hope I can do. But that is our monitor controller. All right, so the last thing that we have that I've built into this is the ability to record pretty much anything, any audio that you want. And I've got the computer over here with the keyboard and mouse. You can kind of have it over here. Ready to go. You can throw a secondary monitor up on the screen here if you want, but I think most of the time you'll be using the projector for either a multi-view from Video World or just a program feed from them at minimum. As I said earlier, this console will give you 64 channels over USB to your computer, and you can record into any DAW that you want. It just acts as a normal interface, and that is the main record. Now, PreSonus makes another software called Capture that I've always liked because it's super simple. Waves had one called Tracks that was similar but a little clunky as compared to what PreSonus has done. PreSonus usually has pretty user-friendly interfaces, pretty good user-friendly interfaces on on all their software really. But this one in particular, you can literally open it and be up in just a few seconds. If you're going, oh crap, I forgot to hit record, you can open up Capture, hit new song, boom, and you can be recording. The other party piece of this particular console and the Studio Live series of consoles is that right up here, if you can see, there's an SD card slot, which means you can have your main record going on your computer, and this can be your backup multi-track record. Because of, data streams and the capacity of certain things as far as buses and SD cards, it will only record 32 channels, but for I don't know, probably, depending on what you're doing, probably 95% of the gigs are going to be less than 32 channels. Now, when you're doing an orchestra, yeah, that's a whole other thing. But when you're doing a rock band or something, or I did a graduation a few weeks ago, you're not going to be using more than 32 channels. So that is a great way to have a primary recording and a backup recording. And even if you want, we have the Dante stream as well. So you could be recording you plug in a laptop over here, you can have a primary, redundant 1, redundant 2 on a secondary laptop machine, recording all of your Dante inputs and outputs if you want. So it's very, very capable in that sense. Oh, hello there. You joined me in the lounge area of the trailer. No, actually, it's not the lounge. It's a chair. It's a chair. It's like a cheap Amazon chair that looks like leather, but it's probably not. But this is somewhere where a client can sit. We've got plugs over here like I've shown you in other videos. Plug in your laptop, plug in your phone, whatever you want. So this is where a producer or, someone who's important can come in out of the elements and relax. Because the other thing, actually, I think probably one of the most important pieces of equipment in this room is, it's actually none of the stuff over there. It's actually right. Let's see if I can show you guys. It's right up there. Do you see it? Do you see it? Do you see it? It's right there. It is the air conditioning. And it's a good thing I have it, because you know what? We're hitting like 100-degree temps right now, easily in Utah. We're hitting anywhere from 90 to 100 every single day. So yeah, you need that. And then, you know, it's Utah, so winter happens, AC and heater right here. Perfect. So I wanted to just, you know, thank you guys for kind of sticking through this. Really the lack of videos over the last few months, because I've been so concentrated on getting this thing done that I haven't been able to film much. But that's another thing that this trailer gives us. It gives us a place where we can film more videos. We can do streams. I've got gigabit Ethernet coming in to this thing right now when it's parked by my house, that we can do streams and hopefully get some more videos out there. So those will be coming shortly. There's a few more things I got to do, and then we'll start filming more videos and putting them out. So I just want to thank you guys for helping with that. The other thing I wanted to say, the last thing I wanted to say was, you know, this is where this trailer sits right now. It's a very nice place to work and to relax in, listen to music. It's a very nice place, and this was what I could come up with on, you know, with using proper budget awareness, we'll say. In the future, though, it is an ever-evolving thing. So in the future, hopefully, you know, it'll continue. We may get some more. We'll probably end up getting some more Dante channels, a couple more Dante bridges. Well, that means we'll have to get another switch. You know, so things will evolve. So this thing can just be a beast out in the field and be able to kind of do whatever it needs to do. So, and with that being said, guys, I just want to thank you for watching, and we'll be getting some more content out soon, and it'll all be, well, a lot of it will be out of this trailer, so it'll be really fun. So thank you guys for watching.